Good evening. Welcome to this meeting of the Common Council of the City of Huntington, February 24th, 2026. Prior to the beginning of the business meeting, we'll have an invocation led by Pastor Tim Lawrence from St. Peter's Lutheran Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Christy McElhaney. Those who wish to participate in either or both may rise at this time.
We hear from Psalm 82. God takes his position in his assembly. He judges in the midst of the rulers. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Vindicate the weak and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and destitute. Rescue the weak and needy. Save them from the hand of the wicked. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord God, as we pray for all those who are in authority, especially for the City Council of Huntington, we thank you for this form of government given to us in our beloved country. Give us as citizens the grace to esteem the representatives of our government as sent by you. Instill in us that respect and honor which is due to them. Grant that our legislators may ever be mindful of the welfare of their constituents. Grant them wisdom that they be guided to serve unselfishly the common welfare of the people with mercy and justice, uprightness and kindliness. Preserve them from all double dealing, pettiness, and self-seeking. Teach us Christians the grace to use our freedom both to proclaim your word and to use every opportunity to serve our fellow man. May we give proof of our gratitude in seeking the welfare of our state, in using our privilege of ballot, of freedom of press, and speech for the improvement of our own community. These blessings grant us, dear Lord, for Jesus' sake. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And with that, we will call the business meeting to order, beginning with a roll call. Christy?
Brodigan?
Present.
Chapman?
Present.
Charlie, we'll
Felton?
need you to
Present.
turn your video on as well for conducting the meeting.
I can see myself.
Well, we can
Funk.
hear you while we're doing roll, so.
Okay. Funk? Johnson?
Here.
Pike?
Present.
Rensberger?
Present.
Thank you.
Having established a quorum for the conducting of city business, then, we'll move along to our first item on the business agenda this evening is a public hearing regarding additional appropriation out of motor equipment, ordinance 1C26. Are there any members of the public here to address council on the matter this evening? Not seeing or hearing any members of the public to address council on the matter of ordinance 1C26, we will close the public hearing. Move along to consideration of minutes from the previous meeting, January 13th, 2026. Is there a motion to bring those minutes to the floor for consideration and adoption as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes? Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as submitted. Christy?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. The minutes are adopted as submitted. And moving along to reports from committees, boards, or commissions. And with his video still out, we can't hear from Chapman's update. But Paul, Councilman Pike, Dwight,
Nothing.
TJ,
Nothing here.
Todd.
HQ is still looking for a director, so if anybody knows of anybody that would like to help bring business into Huntington, we'd love to have a candidate or two to choose from, so we appreciate it. The two people we had before, the one wouldn't, we thought we had one, and he didn't want to make the move. He is originally from Marion, so he didn't want to move his family. The other one was wasn't able to make it because of his other jobs. So we're still looking for a person to run the HQ. That's about it.
Thank you, Todd. Andrew?
Nothing.
David? Okay. Graydon?
Yes, actually, I have a lot more updates from the last time I've talked. So the plan right now is to incorporate a putt-putt for it's like on, I don't know the official name of it, but it's on June 19th. It's like a game night, like a game event with downtown and Main Street. The plan is to have like a putt-putt with businesses downtown to help kind of sponsor it in a way and almost bring attention to some of those businesses downtown. So the plan right now is to possibly do like goodie bags and like prizes that would be from those businesses that we would purchase from those businesses and give them away for people participating in the putt-putt as a way of also bringing recognition to those businesses. If that made sense.
So that Viking Thing students will be doing a putt-putt to help support Main Street activities this summer. Is that right?
Correct.
We got you. And then anything you want to update from today? Where were you today?
I was at the State House with AIM Youth, what is it, AIM Youth Legislative Day.
Yep.
So I got to see the entirety of the State House from which I can actually go inside. We couldn't go inside the chambers. But we also got to meet with Larissa Sweet, who was our state rep, which was a cool experience to talk with her and hear about all the troubles she goes through with just dealing with the bills and stuff. Definitely learned a lot. I don't think I want to become a state rep, but who knows? We'll have to see where my future goes, but yeah.
Great. Thank you, Graydon.
Yep.
Charlie, welcome. Now that we've established your video, do we have audio working as well?
Oh, yes, can you hear me now?
We can, perfect. Do you have any updates for council this evening?
No, I don't, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda for reports, committees, boards, or commissions is the report from the EDC regarding the statement of benefits in real estate for Huntington, America, which council will be hearing resolution on. Christy, if you could read the relevant portion of EDC's minutes into the record, that would be great.
Yes. The EDC met and we had a presentation from Huntington, America, and the minutes reflected a favorable recommendation. Consideration for an SB1 real estate was presented from Huntington of America, a new company wishing to build a facility at the River Fork West Industrial Park on the land that they have purchased there. This facility would be over 400,000 square feet and would house energy storage. The Korean company owner, Kevin Kim, along with his real estate developer, R. Birch Dalton, negotiated with Mayor Strict and the City of Huntington the terms of the abatement. They presented a 10-year abatement with a yearly split of property tax liability of 42.74%, with a tax savings of 57.26%. The company plans to finish construction by early 2027 and employ approximately 441 employees over a 3-year period. Questions were asked and answered, and Commissioner Member Capoza made a motion to give a favorable recommendation to the City Council for the 10-year abatement as presented you have a copy of these minutes, and then the abatement schedule that was presented is on the back in attachment A on the SB1 real estate and the resolution 1R26, which will be presented later in the meeting, seconded by Commission Member Jarabek. And the roll call vote was taken with a motion passing 5-0.
Thank you, Christy. Next item under reports from committees, boards, and commissions is we do have guests with us this evening from Meyer Nasium, and they are going to present on the process of build, operate, and transfer and an accompanying resolution to that effect. So I want to invite them at this time to introduce themselves to council, and Kevin will help bring up their presentation. Yeah.
Harrison Masani. I'm a project executive with Meyer and Age. I'm helping in our municipal division here with Susan tonight. So nice to meet you all. Thanks for having us.
It's great to have Harrison as a part of our team. He's actually very active as well in his own community. So running for town council where he lives. So hopefully he'll become a town council member. I'm Susan Reed. I am a vice president with Meyer and Agem. Been very active in many local government organizations, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, I guess, this evening. We want to just, since we're here, since you probably don't know who Meyer and Agem is, if you don't mind, we're going to just spend a couple slides before we talk about Build, Operate, Transfer to kind of tell you a little bit about our company. Our company was founded in 1987 by two college roommates at Purdue. And since that time, it has become a very thriving construction company, and we work really across Indiana. We are a general contracting company, but we also have a development arm. So our development arm came later, and really an enhancement to the construction work that we do. But our development team also has a wealth of experience really doing, they came up in doing healthcare related development, but now does a lot of municipal development, commercial development. Just quickly through this, hopefully. Sorry about that. Yeah, I've got the. Well, as we could do this, I can definitely talk through this part. So we've grown a bunch in the last 5 years. We had about 80 people before COVID. We have 230 now. We transferred from those two partners who developed our company to becoming an employee-owned company, an ESOP, and so that also has a lot of engagement for our company and longevity, which we're excited about. We really grew up doing healthcare. A lot of municipal work. We have really grown, though, with K-12 work across the state. So those are really areas of our focus. And 85% of our customers, our clients, are from repeat customers. And really, we do that by working and teaming really well with the clients who we serve. With that, we want to talk a little bit, before we talk about Build, Operate, Transfer. I know this is your first Build, Operate, Transfer project that you're considering with the swimming pool. I know that there are other ones that you might consider down the road. So I think really to get that foundation, it's helpful to get the foundation of different delivery models. Really, there are 4 delivery models that I'm going to touch on. The most traditional being the design, bid, build model, where the owner, which in this instance would be the city, would hire both the architect and engineer and the contractor separately. And in this model, full construction design is done really prior to hiring the construction manager. It's bid, and then one construction contract is held, and it's done by the lowest bid is the winning bid. So one of the things that can be a challenge with the design build model is really marrying the project to the budget. The project's been fully designed by the time that the project is bid, and sometimes there's that disconnect. And that can lead to change orders, and it is the most labor intensive on the client, the city, to manage. Another model is construction management as an agent. And in this model, you have it's less onerous on the city. However, it still has the most risk really to the city outside of the other two models that I'll hit on. The owner selects the most qualified CM, and then the CM acts as an agent with hiring the trade partners, and then the architect and engineer is still under the city as well. In this instance, there's no guaranteed budget in place and timelines, so that is one of the things that can kind of delay projects through this model. The last model that I'm going to touch on before talking about BOT is the CMC model. In the CMC model, it's the least amount of time on the city compared to the other two models. However, the owner maintains the contracts with the architect and engineer, and the CMC then oversees the trade partners. The trade partners are still subject to being selected on the lowest responsible bidders in that instance. And really all the risk on this model is still on the municipality to manage contracts. The BOT delivery model provides really some additional flexibility around selection of your trade partners, and there's a developer that is brought into this model and can function in different roles, really depending on the need of the city. So in this instance, under the build, operate, transfer model, the BOT team is selected, and it could include the architect and engineer under the BOT team, or you could have an architect and engineer outside of the BOT. Really, either way works, but oftentimes we do see it, with the developer, the construction management team, and the design team, which would be your architect and engineer being under that model. In this instance, subcontractors are they are not subject to the lowest responsible bid. However, the price is still something that can be a determining factor, certainly, but you have the advantage of being able to promote local participation, which is often important to communities. If it's a specialized project, you can also really make sure that your CMs can reach out to the subcontractors who would know how to do that work. And what we have found as well in our role as a construction management company is that more subcontractors actually will come out to bid on this kind of work because it's that quality piece that they're interested in, and so you have more participation, which actually can drive down costs. So it is a reduced time commitment for the city in that you have the developer that's going to oversee a lot of the small details that would normally have to be handled by the city to administer. Not that the city's not involved, they definitely are. All those important decisions come back, and I'll kind of hit that on the next slide to talk about that. But one of the nice things about this is there's a scoping period, which again, I'm gonna highlight some of the details of that, but you go through a schematic design, you have your construction management company coming along right beside them. The nice thing about the construction management company is they're dealing with subcontractors, so they're getting the pricing. It's more accurate than your design team. So what you're able to do is make sure that the design marries up with what it's actually going to cost. And in this time, too, you can work with your developer if you, as a city, want to do traditional financing through a bond issue, great. If there is a need creative financing, that's something actually that you can do under this model too, so that's a difference as well. It's really that financing component. That's actually my background in public finance. That's something that you can figure out, which is great. It does include a guaranteed schedule, and it includes a guaranteed maximum budget in that a part of the period before that project actually goes out and is trying to see if I missed anything as I'm talking. I think maybe I'll hit it on this slide if I did. So through the BOT process, I'm kind of a process person. So tonight, I think it's my understanding that you're going to be considering adopting the provisions that would enable you to use the build, operate, transfer statute under IC 523. And that then triggers that ability, for future projects, not just project that you may pursue this model for. The process then from there is if you have a project, you would go out through the RFP. It has to be publicly advertised, and then proposals are evaluated by a BOT team that's comprised of whoever the city determines they want to have on that team. And then the BOT team ultimately would review, the BOT review team would select your BOT team, which would be comprised of the construction management company, a developer, and potentially then that architect and engineer as a part of that team. So that's really that first phase. Then you go to the scoping period. The scoping period is what I was talking about. I don't want to take too much time, but it's really where you check to make sure that everything's going to work, that the budget's going to match the project, that the project's in the size that you want to do. You can look to it to refine things before you go really to that next stage. In the city leadership, then, you can approve, I have it after the scoping period, you can approve the BOT agreement a little later, but here you could approve like a BOT agreement. You have flexibility, I should say, but there's checkpoints, and so here you could, as a council, approve the BOT agreement with a preliminary budget at that point. And then your refined budget would be during the design BOT agreement stage, where if you determine, hey, yeah, this is something we want to pursue, and we want to pursue it with this BOT team, then you go to that next stage. The design team develops the detailed designs, and the final cost is in place before you get your documents in place. The bidding and final budget development is put in place, and then you have your financing that would be approved. So the city council would have to approve the financing. Again, there's another checkpoint before you would proceed with the project, and that final budget then would replace that preliminary budget, or you could approve it during that stage as well. Construction phase, you've gone through construction, it's similar to any other project really, but that is kind of that last piece. So I hit on these things, but really this is a summary of some of the benefits. The developer, by taking on contracts, is assuming more risk than you would have with the city to make sure that they follow through on the things that are provided in that BOT agreement. There are things that you can negotiate as well. If there are savings, some of the savings can be negotiated to come back to the city. So for example, through the bidding process, if you have actual savings when it's constructed, then that would, back to the city. Subcontractors could be selected on merit, and local preferences can be included, which is also important. If you're doing a project that's a little more complex, then you might have construction teams that have done those before. And your pricing, even with subs, can be negotiated, which is nice to be able to have that flexibility, financial flexibility, and a lot of the details are held and handled by the development team. So just to kind of give you an idea of things that can be done through this model and projects that we've worked on, the Fishers Arts and Municipal Building. On one side of this building is an arts center that Fishers has constructed. And, it's a community asset, and on the other side are their municipal offices. We helped build that. We also did a fire station around that same area, and their amphitheater there in that community, all under that BOT model. Libraries actually can use this as well. We constructed the Westfield Washington Public Library. The nice thing too is if you had a BOT that you wanted to do as a municipality along with a library or another entity like a county, you could do that under the BOT model. These are other types of projects. Any more you see it used for utilities, not just for vertical construction, which is really where it started. I think I first became aware of the BOT model with shell buildings when communities buildings or more counties. Honestly, we're doing those at that time. Parks, utilities, schools, facilities. We are in the process of constructing the first school facility for K-12 public school through this model in Martinsville, Indiana, an elementary school. So I think once we have that done, it'll show some good things that other communities can think about. And that's it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, so we're adding an extra step or an extra middleman to the process, which means it's going to increase the cost, correct?
No, no. Actually, from a developer perspective, one of the nice, I mean, it depends on who you select. And that's one of the things that you negotiate. Like, so from a developer perspective, with Meyer and Agem being vertically integrated, for a scoping period, we don't assess a fee. We're just really trying to get the project to move forward, and that's how we are. But, you know, other teams may have fees. Those are things that you negotiate through the process. And during those checkpoints, those are things that you look at through the evaluation of it.
And for
But in the
council's
case-
benefit and clarification this evening, the resolution before you just authorizes the city to use this process. It doesn't determine moving forward on anything this evening.
Quick question. We're using CMC for the fire stations.
And we do a lot of work under CMC models. You know, again, this just gives you a little more flexibility with selection, and particularly with your subcontractors.
The city has never used build, operate, transfer before. Many cities around the state have, and other municipalities have. And so, given the unique nature of a potential public pool, we thought this might be the occasion to try this process out. And so that's why we're bringing this forward to council this evening to authorize the resolution, so that we can continue to move forward, clarifying what that might look like. Further
So-
questions for Susan or Harrison?
I do. I'm just trying to make sure that this isn't gonna end up increasing the projects that we wanna do down the road. Because I'm sorry, if you add a middleman to the process, it's gonna increase the price. And the examples you gave are Westfield and Fishers. Not sure about Beech Grove, but I know Westfield and Fishers, those areas have a lot of money. Huntington doesn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good examples, but those are people that got money to play with this, and I just don't want, I'm the fiscal guy here, I guess, but that's how I think about it, and I just don't want to add. And I also don't like, I'm not real sure about a first and final reading in one night, because I haven't got a chance to, I just got this today. I haven't had a chance to research them or anything like that to approve that we use them if I don't know anything about the company, so I'm not comfortable doing that.
So I do want to clarify again, you're not approving the use of Meyer and Agem on this. You're authorizing a resolution that allows the city to use this process with any potential contractor they would work with under BOT. You're not choosing the contractor this evening.
So it's just another tool.
Yep.
That's what we're talking.
And
Go ahead, Mr. Harper.
I have an analogy for you, Todd. The city sometimes, when it looks at doing things, has to look for guidance in the statutes. Something that's similar is if the city wants to undertake unsafe building enforcement, it has to adopt the state's unsafe building code in order to get all those processes in. This is similar in that if the city even wants to consider using build, operate, transfer, it has to adopt those provisions so that all of the provisions are included and the city can, pardon me, comply with them.
And if I could use one more example, just on a community we're currently working with the town of Eagles. It's a community that's experienced a lot of growth, but it's little. And they're trying to do a town hall and a police station in this one building. And they selected us as part of that BOT team. And we have gone through a lot of iterations of what that looks like to meet their budget. And we looked at whether we would provide the financing, ultimately to keep their tax rate, to benefit, because their tax rate has dropped with the growth. They are going through a traditional bond and found that to be the best way to do that, but we've been working with them to figure that out because they don't have a lot of money. It's very limited, and they have big things that they need. So it's a really good way to have those discussions, and our construction team is able to work with the design team that made this beautiful building that they can't quite afford. So we're going back and saying, what do you need? What are the things that are most important, and then we're able to scale it down. before they've gone through and done really extensive design, it's kind of just that scoping period, so they haven't incurred all that cost. So that's one of the benefits. Yeah, we did pick some they're pretty pictures, but we do it really, a lot of communities across the state are doing. Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, I guess I have one question. Maybe this is more for the administration. At what point in the fork of the road would we decide to do a CMC over a BOT? And who all is involved with that? Is city engineering, community development? Looks like we've got a lot of options when it comes to proceeding with any project. I guess that's a question I would have, Mayor, is how do we decide which one to choose?
Thanks, Councilman Chapman. So in this case, you already named the usual suspects, and so Adam Cutress, myself, and Bryn Keplinger have all been reviewing any number of projects, and we've talked about the use of BOT on them, and this is the one where we feel like it warrants moving forward with this process, and that's why we're bringing it to council. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, council, you'll have further opportunity for discussion around it when we get to the resolution later on. But again, thank you, Susan Harrison, for being with us this evening and the presentation around it. As we move along on the agenda this evening, petitions or comments from citizens. I'm not aware of any. Paul, do you see any over there? Okay. And not having any old business, we'll move along to new business. First item under new business is first and final reading of Resolution 1R26. Christie?
Resolution 1R26, this resolution, if adopted, would provide the company with a property tax phase-in for a number of years as determined by council for the real property as described in the company's Statement of Benefits Real Estate. This is for Huntington of America.
And is there a motion to bring Resolution 1R26 to the floor for consideration this evening?
So move.
Second. I have a motion and second. So with us this evening, we do have Dan Bish from NEI, who's helped serve as an interim Lido for us while HQ has been searching. And then also want to introduce Birch Dalton from Edge Rocks, who's representing Huntington America this evening, and he has colleagues he may introduce as well. So welcome to Huntington, Birch.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get into my project, Mr. Johnson, I will tell you, the Westfield Library project was mine.
Okay.
Didn't know these people, you know. But so I was the developer of it, and I sat on the library board for many years before we did it. And Meyer Najum actually did a very good job for us. The BOT process can work, but it's like anything, you got to learn it and understand it. So that's the plug for the BOT. But my name is Birch Dalton. I'm at 555 East Main Street, Westfield, Indiana. I operate on the company Edge Rock Development. And I'm here tonight in front of esteemed council to discuss probably a very unique economic opportunity. And let me tell you how we landed here in Huntington. And I will tell you, Dan Bish and Mary Strick were very good negotiators over the process. But Huntington actually had made a large financial commitment to another community and purchased real estate. Their business plan grew quickly. I'll go into what they make, but they looked at sites in Ohio, Michigan, Fort Wayne, and we landed here in Huntington for a big reason. You guys had land ready to go. So whenever y'all made that risk years ago to get that going, here's the fruits of it. Now, we purchased the remaining acres in that property, and if you know, and you probably know the restrictive covenants, but they're very serious documents that go with this. There's good benchmarks, good protections, and so forth. And the mayor was, held his guns, and even though I tried to make some changes, but I was born at Purdue, raised in Kokomo, matriculated at Ball State. I'm a lifelong Hoosier. I love my state. I love our schools. So as a developer, I always work with a community to make it fair, because the property taxes we generate have to help our schools. That's the quality of life. So Hanjung is a publicly traded company in Korea. Very successful family, took it public in the 90s, and they started out as a tier one automotive. Makes sense, Kia, you know, and then Samsung is their big customer in Korea. But and I'm going to jump through, you can read this at your leisure, but they have a very good advisor here in the country, Chong Kim out of New York. I'm their local Indiana business consultant. And then Brian Bosma, you remember him, the Speaker of the House, he's their attorney at Kroger, Gartis, and Regis. So when you look at these boxes, they're container-sized batteries. So if you look at the electric utility generation business, the biggest problem is storage. Put it out on the wire, if you don't use it, it dissipates, right? You have peaks and you have valleys. Solar, biggest reason solar and wind and all that doesn't work as well is because they can't store the power and they have to push it on the grid. So this, we're going to invest close to $100 million eventually. So this is a container size. Now these won't be sitting out in the factory yard. We do the components inside of it for Samsung. So ESS is Energy Storage Solutions, and they have a patent on a liquid-cooled system. So if you can imagine in this lower picture here, right there, you open up and you have tray upon tray upon tray of aluminum boxes filled with components. Okay, so that's what Hanjung America makes. They're real big in R&D. They've made the transition from pure tier one automotive move into energy storage. So, you know, this has nothing to do with electric vehicle batteries. This is strictly big business for utilities, data centers, and so forth. Go through, this is the components, see the big trays? So they're gonna have a big stamping plant, you know, big transfer press. If you know anything about manufacturing, it goes down and bam, bam, bam. So they're designing a building that this large press will go into. So Indiana Economic Development Corp, I have a long history with, working with them on tax credits and various incentives for other companies. And every one of these incentives from the state and local are performance-based incentives. You're not writing checks. You know, they have to pay in before they get paid back. So the IEDC has committed $4.5 million of EDGE credits, strictly based on payroll. So they generate the payroll, they pay the tax, they get a credit. So, you know, and Governor Braun and Lieutenant Governor Beckwith, it's a new order there. So they're coming in with the Hoosier Business Investment Credits and then self-enhancement funds, which are job training. Here we're asking for, and I will tell you, Dan and I went back and forth. There's two components for a community to get taxes off a commercial endeavor or industrial endeavor. Property taxes, but also personal property or equipment taxes. There's a lot of money at stake here. This is a big project. But Dan and I said, look, let's not worry about the personal property taxes because not knowing what the state's going to do after the latest change. You know, I wanted the community to get the benefit of those while they still could. So we focused on the real estate. Over a 10-year period, we're asking for an abatement on a very large building in the ground. So this building is just the first of probably another 2 or 3 buildings, or 2 and building 3. That's why we needed so much acreage. So this is not a one-off deal. You know, they're investing in Huntington. They selected Huntington, and we're here tonight to say thank you for that. We love the community. They love the community and the site. So in a nutshell, I'm here to answer questions and seek a positive vote on the tax abatement as presented. So with that, I'd take any questions you might have on this company.
Council members?
So, because you're storing that much power in those containers, they've developed a system so they don't get too hot.
Exactly.
Okay. Good idea.
It is, and it's timely, and Samsung Kokomo, obviously had a directional change on EV batteries, so it was perfect, to reload it. I don't know if you knew, but there's a big data center going in Kokomo. So probably the first 200 units will stay right there in Kokomo. Any other questions? I mean, we appreciate it. It's a good investment for the community. I think we structured a pretty ironclad deal on our end for performance. So this is not a give back. I mean, I got out of school in '81. That shows you how old I am. There was no jobs in Kokomo. You remember the '81. Some of you guys are too young. Interest rates were here. Unemployment was 29% because the automotive got killed. Well, they're coming back to Indiana, and this is your chance to land a big fish. I don't see it any worse than you're across the street, the Corvette guy doing that. We're doing the smaller components, so they will be shipped down to Kokomo, where the bigger container is. But, it's an industrial park. We hope there's a bunch. More the merrier. That means more jobs. Well, your mayor was pretty smart on that. When we're parceling it out, we're leaving a way to get to that rail if we don't use that as line. So that was well thought. It's a great location. I mean, I was retained to do a site selection, and I looked at many, and in God's grace, we were in Fort Wayne, and MKS, I believe, is the contractor. So it's American contractor, American subs, American workers. And they brought us over here, and we met with Mark. I don't remember Mark's last name.
Wickersham.
Yeah. And, he sold me a tenderloin out of a gas station for lunch. I mean, y'all didn't spend much whining and dining us, but it was just perfect timing. Yeah. So how much is that job paying, just out of curiosity? I'm kidding.
Birch, one thing just for the record too and clarification. So they're going to be manufacturing the components for those cooling systems. Then those components will get shipped out and assembled at another site. There's not going to be, they're not manufacturing batteries on site. There's not a large pile of batteries being stored here. There's not a fire hazard due to that, correct?
That is correct, and you guys were pretty adamant throughout the due diligence process on this. It's clean technology, it's cutting edge technology, it's higher paid. Excuse me, been fighting a cold since I left Alabama. But you're landing a heck of a good company on the front end of a good technology. Any other questions?
And you're saying this is building one that you're wanting, you're expecting 3 in the future?
We're hoping, so our crystal ball is no better than yours. So we're coming in, minimum 360,000 square feet. I don't know the final print. My job is to select a site, get incentives, and then the contractor. But we're designing it to add another building right next to it.
Further questions by council this evening? Okay.
Thank you, council.
Birch.
Thank you, Mayor.
And so with that then, any further question for council amongst yourselves or discussion regarding the resolution for the recommendation from the EDC to approve the tax phase-in schedule? Councilman Chapman, you're muted right now. Nope, we lost your sound. Just a moment. Try putting your right foot in a bucket of water. The sound earlier. Try that, Charlie.
Okay. There, am I with you now?
Now mute 'em.
All right, do you remember your question, Charlie?
No, but I'll make a comment. I'm older than the speaker is. He thought 81, try 71. No, I was just curious as to how, what's the time frame for winding all of this up and getting it started if we give a favorable recommendation? Are we looking at 6 months down the road, a year down the road?
Well, actually, no, we're waiting for this favorable recommendation, which I could have sworn I heard when we couldn't hear you talking. I said, hey, I love this deal. Hey, do y'all remember the time we didn't have attorneys and technology at council meetings? I'm kidding you. So as soon as we get through, hopefully a successful evening here tonight, we can move on. We have to have a variance on the height of the building, but we like to pull permits here quickly, have a ground break here as quickly as possible, and get it open by 27, early 27. So it's a fast track job. We've already put a $16 million deposit down on the steel, so get the skin in the game and ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Further questions by council members? Not seeing or hearing further discussion, then we'll call the question in favor of the recommendation from the EDC on Resolution 1R26. Christie?
Felton,
Yes.
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Pike. Yes. Rensberger,
Yes.
Brottigam,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is first and final reading of Resolution 2R26. Christie?
Resolution 2R26. This resolution, if passed, would adopt Indiana Code 5-23 BOT statute authorizing the City of Huntington, Indiana to enter into public-private agreements for the development, construction, operation, and transfer of public facilities.
Is there a motion bringing Resolution 2R26 to the floor for consideration and adoption?
So move.
Second.
Second.
So, council members, as explained earlier, this merely allows the city to proceed with utilizing the build, operate, transfer process for the potential construction of a community pool. It is not awarding any contracts this evening or anything to that extent. So, further questions or discussion on the resolution?
So everything is, if a project's going to start, it still has to get approved by us before it starts.
Right.
Correct? This is just a tool to use on it.
This is the process. Yep. Further discussion on the resolution? Not hearing any at this time. We'll call the question in favor of adoption on first and final reading of Resolution 2R26. Christie?
Funk,
Yes.
Johnson,
No.
Pike. Yes. Rensberger,
Yes.
Brottigam,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Felton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is first and final reading of Resolution 3R26. Christie?
Resolution 3R26. This resolution, if adopted, would authorize advanced down payment of up to $16,983.33 to McIntyre Brass Works Incorporated for the purchase of firefighters' poles for the new fire station on Flax Mill Road.
So with us this evening is Director Cutress and Chief Johnson to explain the background on Resolution 3R26 as they're coming forward. Mr. Harper, if you could give the background on the state authority for us to put a down payment on this.
Sorry. If you all recall, we had a state senator a little while ago that got a bill pushed through the General Assembly. A lot of times municipalities are hamstrung in that they must pay in arrears. They have to have received the product before they can pay for it, which makes sense in a lot of situations. Unfortunately, there are times where a down payment is typical and required, and so Senator Zay got an amendment to the purchasing rules passed that allows a advance payment to be made as long as it's authorized by council, and that's the resolution for you.
Thank you, Mr. Harper. Director Cutress, the background on this one in particular, please.
Yes, so the brief background on this is fire station slide poles, typically made out of brass nowadays, is a very specialized thing. McIntyre Brass is the only company in the country that still makes these. So our options were very limited as far as a brass slide pole. For the fire station, Wygan being the prime contractor we selected for the construction of the fire station, got an original quote from McIntyre Brass of $50,950 for the slide pole. They approached the city about us purchasing it directly instead of it running through their agreement processes. There were some disagreements a little bit in their terms and conditions between the two companies. The city has reviewed McIntyre Brass's terms and conditions. They're all very acceptable to us. So this is simply allowing our McIntyre Brass with like a 1/3 down payment, which is that $16,983.33 listed there, so that they can begin the construction, the manufacturing of the slide pole, being that they're very specialized. They're made for the exact specific instance, so they want a down payment to ensure that you're going to actually then purchase it later. So that's all we're asking for tonight from council, is authorizing the advanced down payment of 1/3 of the cost slide pole. The cost for this will come out of the overall fire station project. It is not an additional cost above and beyond what was already approved. It simply comes out of the agreement, that total overall price.
Thank you, Director Cutress. Given that background, then, is there a motion to authorize Resolution 3R26 on first and final reading?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration, questions by council members?
Thanks for the clarity at the end of that. It was already in the budget.
It was.
Is that pole 200 feet tall?
It is not.
$50,000 is, no brass is expensive these days.
It is expensive. Brass is very expensive.
So it's 300.
Stainless steel is more expensive. Brass is actually the cheaper option in this case.
Only one
It's
company.
just not,
And
It does have safety.
even
Does it
though
take-
our,
does it take you back up? Okay.
It's got
For
safety features.
50,000?
Paul.
yeah,
it's
and
got
even
safety
though our
features and silicone.
firefighters are all paramedic certified, we don't want them sliding down a wood pole either. Further question or discussion by council regarding Resolution 3R26? Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of approval on first and final reading of Resolution in 3R26. Kirsty?
Johnson,
Yes.
Pike. Rensberger,
Yes.
Brodigan,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Felton,
Yes.
Funk.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is first reading of ordinance 1C26. We do have Superintendent Bischoff here to present on that. Is there a motion to bring ordinance 1C26 to the floor for consideration on first reading?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second.
Good evening.
Sorry.
First, let me apologize. I don't
Just
have
a
any
second.
colorful.
Just a second.
Let me read it, sorry. Synopsis, this ordinance, if adopted, would provide additional funding to the general fund, street motor equipment, 1101011441 for $250,000.
As I was saying, I apologize. I don't have any colorful slides. Here tonight to ask for this additional monies to replace our grapple truck. Current unit is a 2005. It's got 183,000 miles on it. Grapple trucks, we use it for our orange sticker pickups, which is our bulk items. We also use it for brown bags. Pretty important tool.
Questions by council members?
So is this going to give you an extra one, or are you going to phase that other one out?
We're going to trade the other one in.
Oh, you're going to trade in for that? So is that, how long did it take to get the mileage on it that's on it? How many years have you had it?
It's 2005, so 20 years.
21.
Okay. I only had 183, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't sound like a lot, but
not, it's age. I mean,
20 years is pretty good. Okay, thank
had
you.
a lot of years on the road.
So we missed this for the budget this year?
Yes.
Further question or discussion? Not seeing or hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of approval on first reading of ordinance 1C26. Christie?
Pike? Rensberger?
Yes.
Brottigam?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Felton?
Yes.
Funk? Johnson?
Yes.
Superintendent Bischoff, what's your timeline on, we need to do suspension of the rules this evening?
If we could, please, chassis manufacturer says they're 4 months out, and another 100 to 150 days to have the upfit. The faster we were to move forward, hoping by the end of the year we could have it.
Council members, if there's appetite for suspension of the rules this evening, it would be appreciated by the administration. Is there a motion to that effect?
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration on the question to suspend the rules and allow for second and final reading this evening. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of suspension of the rules. Christie?
Rensberger?
Yes.
Brottigam?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Felton?
Yes.
Funk?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pike?
Thank you. The motion carries. And with that then, is there a motion for second and final reading of ordinance 1C26?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the matter. Call the question in favor of approval of ordinance 1C26 on second and final reading. Christie?
Brottigam?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Felton?
Yes.
Funk?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Rensberger?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very much.
Next item on the agenda is first reading of ordinance 2C26. Christie?
Ordinance 2C26, this ordinance, if adopted, would amend section 51.063 D1, local limits of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntington, Indiana, to remain compliant with the city's NP DES permit and IDEM regulations.
Thank you. Is there a motion to bring ordinance 2C26 to the floor for consideration on first reading this evening?
Second.
Motion and second. Director Cutchers.
Yes, this ordinance is something that the city has to look at every 5 years. It relates to the discharge limits that our sewer plant has to meet to discharge clean water, treated water back to the river. They take a look at, they being IDEM and our contractor in this case, study what our sewer plant is capable of treating, and then take a look at the industries that send their wastewater to us and what constituents are in it, what chemicals. And they use that to determine the maximum volumes of certain chemicals that they're allowed to send to us so that we can safely treat them and discharge the water to the river, meeting our permit requirements. Having recently conducted that study, there were 6 chemicals, those shown in the ordinance here: ammonia, chromium total, mercury, molybdenum, selenium, and zinc. We needed to lower the maximum allowable volumes of those chemicals being sent to us so that we can safely treat them and discharge meeting our permit levels. The limits you see in there are the new limits of all of those chemicals. So this is simply adjusting our permits we have with the large industries so that we can ensure we stay in compliance. So.
Thank you, Director Cutress. Questions or discussion by council?
So are we getting more than this now?
No, everybody, so take ammonia, for instance, the current limit is 100 milligrams per liter. We're lowering it to 97. The companies have to meet that 100, so currently, until the ordinance is revised, they're meeting their current levels. Once we revise our ordinance, they will then be F&V operations who enforces our local limits. Will meet with those companies and inform them that they need to make sure that they're discharging below the new levels. But we are currently in compliance, yes.
Okay, so our plant, are we lowering them just to lower them? I mean,
No, we're lowering, so typically what happens, the state, IDEM, and the EPA take a look at all the rivers across the state. They perform chemical analysis on them. They look at what chemicals are higher than what they think they should be to sustain aquatic life. Then they take a look at all the sewer plants that are discharging into them, set their limits based on what they believe the rivers can handle, and then it's a trickle-down effect after that. They set a limit on us, we have to set limits on those that send sewer to us so that we can make sure we meet the right levels.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah.
We are meeting the levels that we are required to meet at this time, yes.
Further question or discussion by council? Not hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of approval on first reading of ordinance 2C26. Christie?
Chapman?
Yes.
Belton?
Yes.
Funk?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pike? Rensberger?
Yes.
Brottigam?
Yes.
Thank you. And Adam, is this something that can wait for
It
approval
can.
at the next meeting?
You can wait, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along to January budget report. Christie?
Yes. January ended on a good note with the general fund had $6,999,000. The MVH funds, $763,979 and $487,000. Park fund had $125,900 and airport $187,597. Landfill $39,000. So the seated expenses for January were $260,031.45. In the 5-year budget for the seated plan, everything is in order that way. If you have any specific questions on funds, let me know, but yeah, everything is in good order for the first of the year.
And for council's benefit, there were a few tax receipts that came in late, and those will be added to the June distribution when that comes. That's why some of the funds are running low balances at this time. Any other questions for Christie on the financials? Thank you, then. Any other miscellaneous items for the good of the order?
I thought I heard in the building of their building that it was a little bit taller. Are we gonna have to vote on?
That'll be going through BZA and Planning Commission
First?
Thursday's meeting. Is that correct? Go. So Monday for the height with BZA.
Thank you.
So since the State House will end session this week, we did postpone the State of the City until the first meeting in March. So those are your annual reports from the department heads in the meantime for your light and casual reading, as you noted.
Wake up at 5.
Andrew makes for good lullaby stories at home. Okay. All right, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.